Why are you silent at work? Is it because you're a coward? You have no integrity? Or you're simply not making a choice? Or is it bigger than that? So, quite often I see on LinkedIn a lot of people talk about leadership should do better, managers should do better, individuals should stand up for truth. The reason we have toxic cultures is because of um, leadership specifically, but we seem to forget that leadership is made up of individuals, and individuals are very often, by nature, are meant to avoid pain and seek pleasure. So if the organization itself is rewarding alignment, it's rewarding being silent and not challenging authority, which everybody has a manager within an organization, then it becomes difficult. But what we have to realize is that there's always a cost associated with it. So although it's not costing you your job by speaking out, it's costing you your own integrity and your own ability to be okay with yourself. And a lot of this cost is materialized via bad moods, or your personality changes, you become weaker, you don't stand up for what you believe is right. Your ability to have control over your own values of what you believe in now erodes. And that happens little by little, where we actually don't even see it coming because it happens so slowly. Every small decisions or every single thing you don't um, push back on, it doesn't align with what you think, you are changing yourself little by little. And that's why a lot of people wake up in mid age or midlife rather, and they wonder what happened. How did I change? And when you change at work, when you allow these things at work to change you, it affects all areas of your life. You will change in your relationships, your individual one-on-one relationships. You will change in your the way you treat yourself also. Your health can be affected. A lot of times you could see people that kind of compensate for that individual cost of not speaking up by uh, dealing with certain things. As a matter of fact, you could see that a lot of executives have, um, there could be things like anxiety, or it could be drinking. It could be just multiple divorces, for example, because there's lack of integrity. So let's take it one step at a time. The main talk of this video is I want to talk about those people on LinkedIn that are talking about the human experience, right, of leadership. The reason is leadership needs to change it. It's not the individual, but it's a leader is an individual. And so they're constrained by the exact same constraints that any other individual within that organization will have to deal with. So if you think about individual courage, right? Speaking up, you just need to have enough courage. But what if you speak up because you have courage, but nothing changes? You slowly learn that there's no point. If nothing is going to change, what's the point of speaking up? So now your courage becomes lesser than, right? Because a lot of times you kind of give up without even going for that inspired action, a courageous action. Now you no longer bother because nothing changes. So courage is not as simple as just being courageous, because we as humans are conditioned by what is being rewarded versus what we fear, right? Because we have jobs, because we have duties, we have to pay bills, we have a family to support, we have ourselves to support. And so all these self-negotiation of, should I bother speaking up, right? Or integrity, where I say something, I agree with something, and I don't necessarily, it's not necessarily truthful to who I really am, but I do that to get the next promotion, right? Rather than speaking up and having integrity within. So does it come down to choice? Yes, it always comes down to choice. The individual always has a choice. You can choose to leave relationships because, as we all know, we leave jobs not because of the job itself. We love doing that. We leave a manager. We leave an environment, right? It's not, we don't leave an inanimate building corporation, if you will. We leave the individual that forces us to get out of alignment, that forces us to be conditioned based on the incentives they provide. So if that individual is ego driven, if that individual expects alignment every time and no dissent in thoughts, it's difficult day in, day out. Some people have learned to make peace with it and they stay in organizations very long times. But you'll if you pay attention, if you know them enough, you'll know they have health problems, anxiety issues, because we spend so much of our time in an organization. Now, there's another trend that's happening for people who will not sell their soul, if you will, or will allow integrity disconnect within themselves. So what do? They move to other organizations, and you'll see that on LinkedIn. People switching jobs within 8 months. They're not even there that long because that alignment is not there, right? And so what do we do about all this? What can really be done about all this? the way this the reason we're here is because individuals, little by little, society as a whole, allowed themselves to just agree with things because they noticed that's what was rewarded instead of standing up for what they believed in. If something's not aligned, walk away. When organizations realize that if they state accountability as a mission statement, but in practice, when it's operationalized within an organization, it's not true, they need to leave. And so organizations won't change until it's painful and costly enough for them. How do we, the individuals, make that change? Leave, quit, go to the next job. Go until you find the environment in which your particular skills, your values as an individual are accepted, meaning truth, challenges, dissent, innovation are actually appreciated. So organizations won't change until it's painful enough, meaning it costs them money to hire, it costs them money to publish jobs on those job boards. So, but you can scream until you're blue in the face. It's like a mosquito, the individual, whether it's a leader or a low level executor, if you will, it's like a mosquito biting an iron bull, if you think about it, because it won't make a change. And most individuals in a corporation won't align together to create a change. That's in movies. And I've always appreciated it. And I wish it was that way, but it's not. So each person is out for themselves when it comes to corporate America. So continue jumping. There is value in jumping. There is value in improving your skills, finding out what it is you don't want when you move from job to job. And then there's going to be a shift where organizations have to make a change. They have to, because it's too costly to continuously hire people when operationally they're working very differently than they do in practice or what they say. They are also out of integrity as an organization. If your value is accountability, but when you enter an organization, the word accountability or ownership scares management, that's misalignment. That's lack of integrity. So the only way to correct that is to start leaving and start doing it in droves and create a movement around we won't stand for this anymore. So that allows you, the individual, to continuously provide for your duty. You'll be able to get a job. Don't quit until you get another job, right? But that last one allowed you to refine what it is you're okay with. So you're keeping your integrity, your individual cost very much lower, I should say, right? Because you're not eroding your courage, your truth, your alignment with who you are as a person and what is valuable to you by remaining. So if you disagree, if you think otherwise, if you think they should just speak louder or they should just do something different and just stay in their organization and try to change it, tell me about it. I want to hear about it in the comments. I have experienced this on a personal level for many decades, I should say. And I want to hear your point of view, especially those newer ones that are coming into corporate America. I know Generation Z has a different perspective on work than, say, Generation X or even the boomers before that. So I want to hear your perspective, your point of view. What are your thoughts? Do you disagree? Do you think there's a way to stay there and change the organization? Just do it harder next time, right? Let me know. And I'm looking forward to debating this. See you next time.